Marhaban. Hello. My name is Ian Campbell, and this is the 18th in a series of videos intended to teach you the Arabic alphabet and sound system and to prepare you to understand how to learn vocabulary words. In this lesson, we're going to learn the numbers up to 100 and how, when we have a number over 20, we have to read them differently than we would in English. None of this is very difficult at all. It's just a tiny bit strange from an English speaker's perspective. And in the following lessons, I'm going to address how to tell time and then how to do dates. So we'll get up to numbers above 1,000 then. So we have al-arqam, the digits, the numbers. And numbers above 20 put the digits in what English speakers would think of as backwards order. So we don't say 25, we say 5 and 20. German does this as well as a few other languages. So it's not super uncommon. And in very old school versions of English, you'll see 5 and 20 if you read Shakespeare, for example. So it used to exist this way in our language, but it's held over in Arabic. So what I'm going to do here is go through the numbers and give you the teens for each one and give you the tens for each one. And I'm going to give you how to pronounce the teens because they aren't really pronounced like they're written for the most part. So we know that wahid is our number for 1. And as I've said before, when wow is the first root letter of a word, the wow often just up and disappears on you, or sometimes turns into a hamza. So ahad is what we say, ahad ashar. Now, it's actually way more complicated than this in formal Arabic, where the ahad is going to change to ihda if the thing that you're describing is a feminine object. But we're going to learn really practical things here in Arabic 1001, and one of them is just to kind of schluff a few things and not be super formal about them. So ahad ashar is what people are supposed to say, but everyone says hadash, hadash. So the had is the wahid and the ash is the ashar. In most of the teens, we will see that the ra sound gets dropped off, especially in casual speech. And then, of course, 110 is just ashara, and we've known that from before. So we say ashara when we're counting tens, but when we count teens, generally speaking, we leave off the ta marbuta and don't pronounce the ra either. So we know that ithnain is our number for 2, and ithnashar is our number for 12, so 2 and 10. You can see where it comes from. Ithnashar. Again, in very formal Arabic, this will become bewilderingly complicated. If I want to do it perfectly right, I have to go look it up to make sure, and I've been doing this for 30 years. Because again, the Arabic numbering system is way more complicated than it needs to be. I'm going to teach you the easiest version of it here. So ithnashar is 12, and most people will just say ithnash to mean 12. And to get 20, we get ashreen. And this originally came from ashrain, 2 tens. Remember the dual ending I showed you in the last one. So ashreen is what it's become gradually over the centuries, meaning 2 tens, and that's how we get 20. We know that thalatha is 3, so thalathat ashar is 13. Most people will drop the ra off and say thalathatash. And then our number for 30 is thalathin. Sometimes it's going to be thalathun. We don't need to worry about that right now. Everyone will say thalathin, even if sometimes they're going to write down thalathun. And it's just completely pointless to try to teach you when you would use thalathun and why, because you're really just trying to master the alphabet at this point. So we're not going to worry about that. Number 4 is arba. So arbatashar, or more usually arbatash, is 14, 4 and 10. You can see where it comes from. And then now we're going to get real regular here for the most part. So thalatha becomes thalathin for 30, and arba becomes arba'in for 40. Don't miss the ein here. Don't say arbeen. Say arba'in, like that, to make 40. For 5, we have khamsa to mean 5. Khamsat ashar, or more usually khamsatash, for 15. And then khamseen for 50. So thalathin, arba'in, khamseen, they follow a very regular pattern. Again, sometimes it's going to be khamsun, but you absolutely do not need to worry about that right now. 6 is sitta. Long ago it was sidsa, but now it's sitta. So sitatashar or sitatash is 16. My daughter's about to turn 16, so I've been saying that at her a lot lately, and she thinks there's something wrong with me. She's right. Sittin is our number for 60. So again, perfectly regular, no problems at all. For 7, nefs الشيء, same thing. Sab'a for 7 becomes 17 or 17 for 17, and 70 for 70. So again, perfectly regular. And then we have 8 for 8, so 18 or 18 for 18, and 80 for 80. It's a little off because it's not 80, but just 80. So slightly irregular here, but not very much. Tis'a is our number for 9. So tisat ashar or tisatash is 19, and then tis'in is 90 rather, not 100. So these should be really easy to learn because they're very, very regular for the most part. They don't present a problem. If you're going to go next level in formal Arabic, you're eventually going to have to want to deal with how 11 and 12 work, because they really will behave a little bit differently in a very formal text. But honestly, I can get away without knowing them this far into the game, and so can you right now. So don't really worry about that. All right, now the ones, and then we have 10 gives us mi'a for 100. It's not spelled phonetically. Most words in Arabic are spelled phonetically, but this one isn't. So it looks like ma'i'a or something like that, but it's not. It's mi'a. Mi'a, and then the plural is mi'at. Most of the time when ta marbuta is the last letter in a word and you want to make it plural, it changes to alif ta. And alif ta is the all-purpose plural. So if you don't know the plural, just use the singular and add alif ta to it, and people will more or less understand what you're talking about. So mi'at is hundreds. Alf, it looks like alif. Alf is 1,000, and its plural is alaf. Here's our alif madda character that gives us a hamza and then a long alif. So alaf is thousands. Long ago in the 1980s, there was a terrible television show called Alf, which was about a Muppet alien that lived with a middle-class family. It was super stupid. Don't even bother watching it. But so Alf, he was the alien, and he's also 1,000. He wanted to eat the cat. That's mostly what I remember about the show. All right, so now let's get into the tricky part, which really isn't all that tricky. It just takes getting used to. So if I'm going to write this number, here I have my 2, my ithnain, and here I have my wahid, my 1. So first of all, when we write Arabic numbers, which they call Hindi numbers or Indian numbers, we write them from left to right like we would in English. And this is because long ago they used to be spoken in the reverse order from what we would do in English. So like instead of saying like 1995, for example, you'd say 5 and 90 and 900 and 1,000 because you read them from right to left is why. But we read the numbers from left to right now in modern Arabic as far as the placement of the digits. This is the ones digit, and this is the tens digit, just like in English. You don't put the tens digit over on the right, like might make sense because Arabic goes right to left. So watch out for that. And then the other tricky part is that we put the ones digit first, and then the tens digit. So wahid wa ishreen, 1 and 20. That's what we say instead of 21. Again, this is not rocket science, and it used to pertain in English, but I'm just here pointing out all the details so you can get them. So we put the units digit first, and then a wa for and then the tens digit. So literally 1 and 20, or literally 1 and 2 tens is what you're saying here. So let's take another number. All right, and now we have arba for 4 and thalatha for 3. Remember, 2 and 3 look quite different in handwriting than they look in print. So arba wa thalathin, 4 and 30. So 34 in English. And it looks like 34 too once you decode the digits because we put the 30 first and then the 4 this way instead of the other way around like you might think would make sense in Arabic. And then we have this one here. This looks like a 70, and this is why when I talked about the numbers in 2 videos ago, I said that if they were really alien glyphs, we wouldn't have problems learning them. Like, okay, this is 3 and this is 4. That's no problem. But this looks like a 70 when in fact it's 65. So this is Khamsa wa Sittin, 5 and 60. And this is the problem with the Eastern set of digits, again, is that they look too much like our set of digits. If they were completely alien, they would be easy to learn. And then sometimes we want 100 and something, and this works more or less like it does in English. So here's the hundreds digit, here's the tens digit, here's the units digit, but we're going to read it 100 and then units and tens. So the order is all out of whack for an English speaker. And this is the only hard part about really learning numbers and how to count. Counting objects is a little different, and I'll talk about that more later. So here we have 187, so we get mi'a wa sib'a wa thamanin, 107 and 80. And that's the way the numbering system works. In the next one, I'm going to take our numbers from 1 to 10, plus 11 and 12, and I'm going to show you how to tell time, and I'm going to give you the names of the months as well. And then the final video will do years and whole dates, and that will finish up your acquaintance with the Arabic alphabet and sound system. And a future series of videos will get to basic grammar. But for now,